Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast, where the Commander Clash crew discusses Commander-related topics, and today we are going to be talking about silver border cards and whether or not we want to see them in Commander. Recently, we got an announcement, or I guess not an announcement recently, but there's a new unset coming out. It's Unfinity, I believe? That's the name of it? Mm-hmm. Unfinity. And we moved away from sets, like the unsets used to be the silver border cards and all the cards in there except for like the basic lands were not Commander legal. And now we've moved to this new sort of divide where we did away with silver border cards. And in the replacement, we have a little sticker, an acorn sticker, showing whether or not a card is legal in other constructed eternal formats like Commander. So we're going to just talk about Silver Border and the new Acorn cards and what we feel about these new cards and whether or not we want to see them legalized in the Commander format. So join me as always for this debate is Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. How's it going, Seth?
I'm doing well, Tomer. How are you today?
Doing well. And also I have the Asian Avenger, also known as Krim. How's it going, Krim?
It goes. Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing?
Glad you woke up for this.
Yep.
Do you have any G Fuel or anything?
No, I've got the classic G Fuel water.
Wow.
That's about it.
Not even caffeinated. I even brought like a Coke Zero for this
I
to get my little caffeine
be.
stick. It's so delicious. Not sponsored, but want to be. I seriously drink like one a day, but yeah. Anyway, and then finally we have Brewer's Kitchen, aka Phil. How's it going, Phil?
Hey. Always nice to be here, even though I spoil the podcast for myself.
I mean, it's been it's going to be at least a week, right? So you will have some time to forget about it. I forget every Commander game we play, honestly. Like, I'll check in and I'll be like, what's going on? What am I playing? But yeah. So we're going to be talking about silver border cards, but before we do that, one last thing we can do. If you want to sponsor the channel, you can do that two different ways. First, you can head on over to mtggoldfishmerch.com. You can buy the beautiful playmats stapled on Richard's wall, still stapled on Richard's wall, deck boxes, deck sleeves, and t-shirts, and so much more at mtggoldfishmerch.com. And then finally, you can also support the channel by... No, that's the only way. Never mind. I was gonna plug some other stuff.
And we might have to rework that pitch now that Richard's wall isn't on the podcast anymore. I was like looking around like, oh wait.
Yeah, you can't see it, but you can just imagine it in your mind's
somewhere,
eye.
Yeah.
Or does it? We'll never know.
It's like Schrödinger's playmat wall. We never know.
Yep. All right, so we'll just jump into the discussion. First of all, Seth, can you tell us what silver border cards are? Like, what's the history behind that for people who don't know what silver border cards are?
They're just fake cards. So actually, silver border cards are essentially, there's a few sets in Magic's history that were designed to not be played in tournaments. They have joke cards and humor and stuff that doesn't work under the Magic's rules. Traditionally, they had been printed with a silver border, so people would know you can't stick it in your legacy deck or modern deck or whatever. They're mostly played in limited for silver bordered sets, or you can sometimes play them in Commander if your playgroup lets you. If you do the rule 0, like, can I play my Earl of Squirrel or whatever in my Squirrel deck? And everyone's like, yeah, sure, like, that's fine. But traditionally, they don't really see play in many places because they're technically not legal to be played in Commander or in other formats.
Right. And there was one exception to that rule, I believe. Was it Unstable? I believe
when
Unstable came out.
The last unset or silver bordered set, for a month or a month and a half, I think the RC actually said all silver border cards are legal for this short period of time. We knew going into it wasn't a permanent thing. They told us up front, and it was. I didn't actually play any silver border Commander. Did any of you actually play with silver border cards during that month?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even play Commander back then, so no.
Yeah, it was 2017. I didn't play any. My only exposure to it though was I think game nights. They brought Mark Rosewater on for a special episode, and they played with the silver border commanders.
Mark loves his silver border cards, that's for sure.
He's like the number one fan, right? Like he's the mastermind behind each one. And he's the guy who like pushes for it every single time. So it's definitely his passion project. And like, yeah, you got this. I got to see like how passionate he was for like this kind of like fun, more casual side of Magic, you could call it, like where like, you know, you're playing silly cards and you're having like neat little effects. You know, like you can say like if somebody says something like the gotcha cards where like if you say a word or something, you can just yell gotcha and get like an extra value out of your card or whatever, like little weird things like that.
It's so,
but yeah, nobody played it.
The month might have been perfect. Like I feel with stuff like that, with like someone can yell gotcha at you and you got to do something, or someone plays a card that makes you go buy him a drink, like it's probably pretty fun in small doses. With like, if the Commander Clash crew could do it, it would probably be a really fun time. Like if we all got together and did a game like that. But if we did it every week for Commander Clash and I had to deal with Krim like making me get him drinks and yelling gotcha, I would probably just end up quitting Commander after like a month. So the month time frame might have been the perfect amount of time for Silver Border to be legal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
So yeah. What's some of like the problems with Silver Border then? Like I guess just nobody played it, right? Like that was the problem, is like they're Silver Borders, nobody plays them.
Yeah, so there's a big like, so Mark Rosewater obviously would like these cards to be more accepted, and I think Mark's perspective is they should just be accepted in Commander. I don't know if he thinks they should be legal, but he thinks that basically it's a casual format. If you want to play with these cards, you should just be able to play with these cards. The problem is, I think because they're not legal, a lot of people don't play with them. I think even if you want to play with them, this has been my experience. Like, let's say I really want to play with Earl of Squirrel, which is kind of a cool Silver Border card. It's like close enough that it could work at a squirrel link, so when it deals damage, you get to make that many squirrels, and it's like close enough that it's not going to like do anything horrible. But if I want to play with it in a Commander game, I got to do the whole Rule Zero thing, and I have to like at the beginning of the game be like, hey everybody, like I got this Silver Border card, like this is what it does, is it okay, can I have your permission, what about you, are you okay with that? And like, it's just a big hurdle to get over. So I think that that's what keeps people from playing them, because they're not blanket legal to be played and you have to ask if you want to play them. The easiest thing to do is just not play them, and then you don't have to risk that conversation. You got to risk someone being like, no, I hate Silver Border, like take the Earl Squirrel out of your deck, you jerk. Like, so I think that's the problem, is the easiest path is just not to play them, because according to the RC, they're not legal cards to play, and you have to do the Rule Zero thing.
Well, I mean, you have to do Rule Zero anyways, so I don't see the issue in playing Silver Bordered cards.
Yeah, but like, isn't the biggest upside of the ban list Magic Online and pickup games? And in pickup games, you talk. I guess I didn't do it yet, but I guess you tell people about your deck, and if you say like, I'd much rather play against Earl of Squirrel than Ristic Study, to be honest, and I'd love to play, honestly, any of these Silver Border cards if I like. They're just funny. Like, looking for cards for this podcast, most of them are more fun than strong. There are some things that are obviously broken, but most of them are fine to unplayable, or just do silly things that are just fun if you do them with your friends, I guess, unless you have to pay too much for the drinks. But that's one card.
And stuff like that, though, like the I think it's called Ashnod's coupon that makes you make someone go get you a drink. Like, in a group of friends, that's probably a really funny effect. If you're having a game night and it's all your friends and you're like, haha, like I play this, go get me a drink. That's awesome and that's super fun. I don't know if I sat down in my LGS, though, and had that in my deck, if the rest of the table would have that same, like, experience, or if I went to like a Command Fest and Ashnod's coupon someone, like, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing that. So when it comes to like, should they be legal, I can see where Mark's coming from, because like in this idealistic world where everyone has their playgroup and everyone's just having a good time, that's probably pretty good. But at the same time, I could imagine someone just showing up in like just being a full-on troll at a Magic Fest and making people buy them drinks and talking in funny voices and like, just trying to mess with people and have them have a bad time with these cards if they were just all blanket legal.
How is that a bad time? Everything you
that
just
sounds
said is like
pretty good,
hilarious. If someone shows up and starts talking in a funny voice, like, all right, I'm here for it. I don't know. Like,
I mean, the cards aren't good. It's not like they get anything else but a drink out of it. And then there's cards that like create tokens, but you have to represent this token by a finger on the board. And then you have to walk your hand around the board. Like, these are not strong cards, but they are, hey, if it's up to me, all of them would be legal, except for the ones you tear apart. I mean, you can play them once.
So many of those things would be fun once, but the second or third or 10th time, I really think that's when I'm like, all right, I'm done with Commander. Like, I'm gonna go back to playing Modern. Like, have fun with your fingers on the table, talking in funny voices, everyone. Like, I'm gonna sign up for the Modern FNM.
Once.
It is fun once.
Heuristic study is never fun, so at least you get one fun out of that.
You get the one time out of it.
I had a fun time with all those cards. Even better, I'd play Heuristic Study so I can draw more unhinged cards. I don't know. I mean, is that really all that bad? I mean, I had a fun time. I drafted the unhinged sets. I never played in Commander. Oh, I played silver bordered cards in Commander before, but not in that month or whatever. But yeah, like, I've drafted, and I never got tired of asking if I liked squirrels, and I never got tired of asking somebody if they liked squirrels, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think that is a fun little mechanic, and I don't see why it's like silver border cards are problematic. I don't know. I've had a lot of fun with them outside of like the rip 'em up ones. Like the rip 'em up one, actually, even the rip 'em up ones aren't even that bad, because like if you've played like a legacy
what are the
version,
rip 'em up ones?
Like Confetti Orb or whatever, or Blacker Lotus.
Oh, you literally rip up the card?
Yeah,
Blacker Lotus. You got to rip it up and you get 4 mana. Yeah,
that's on you. Right? That's on you if you want to use it or not.
CEDH staple.
Right. Yeah.
Because like example, I don't know. It's a lot like, I already look at Commander a lot like a board game. So these are just more board game elements added to it, right? Like, and then the rip 'em up cards is a lot like Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill. There's legacy versions of that game where there's like these tiles, right? As you play through the game, it unveils a new tile, but like you can also like write in special things on these tiles. It's like one-off tiles or one-off like little rules that apply to the game, and then you just have to go get a new set or whatever. But like, I don't know. I already look at Commander like a board game, so I don't see what's the difference between this and like adding in acorn cards and all this other stuff. And then you're already having the Rule Zero discussion, so
I think it really depends. Like, I think I'm kind of with Seth, where like if I saw this a lot, I would not want to play anymore. Like, I don't know, if you constantly made me get you a drink or something, it's like funny once or twice or whatever, but then after a while it'd be like, this is not like the game I signed up to play. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of like legal cards that I don't really want to play with constantly. Like, if you always are like, if every game was like people resolving Scrambleverse and forking it 1,000 times, like, I also wouldn't want to play Commander that way either. So like, I don't really know if it's going to be it would be that much worse than the stuff that is currently available to us. And I think maybe it would be regulated by playgroups, just like, not every game you want to play against Turgid, for example, but like you can play against Turgid once or twice and it's fine. But like after a while, you'd be like, hey, maybe you want to swap out for another deck, maybe once, and then we can go back to Turgid or something. Like, so I don't know. I don't see them being that much worse. But I guess we all agree that like if somebody did have like a Rule Zero Commander, we'd be like kind of okay with them playing it, right? Like if somebody brought Baron von Count to the table and be like, this has Doom counters, and if I have to care about mana cost, text box, power, toughness, and that's it, and then I have a Doom counter and I can destroy target player if I reach 0, like, that's kind of fair, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, if someone wanted to like Rule Zero in a silver border card, for the most part, I'd be fine with that. I think it's when you come to the question of like, should just all silver border cards be legal all the time? That's where it gets a little stickier. I definitely agree that like, if you want to play a cool silver border deck or whatever, like, go for it. Like, if your playgroup is cool with it, I would probably be cool with it for the most part. So yeah, like, I think they should be played more, but I think there's actually a question about if they should just blanket all be legal or not.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon. But I guess the thing I wanted to get to is like, we don't really see Silver Border played that much in paper, at least, right? Like,
no.
Has anybody seen that? Like, people roll out to the table and bring Silver Border with some level of frequency?
I don't think I've seen it in a random group, like a pickup group, but I, see it amongst friends. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone play Silver Border cards.
I being one of those people that play Silver Bordered, and then also a few
what's
other
your
friends.
commander?
Oh well, I don't play a commander that's Silver Bordered, but I play cards like Decorated Knight, just because I know my friends hate Amanatu, so then I use it. I cast the adventure side, I go get my Amanatu deck, and then I play it.
Oh my god.
Crim is like the living embodiment of everything I fear about making Silver Border cards legal. They're just like so perfect for trolling. Can you imagine showing up to a Magic Fest and there's like 1,000 Crims there with their Silver Border decks?
This is like just
That'd be
Crim
the
mechanic
sickest
for sure.
like Command Fest ever. What are you talking about? I mean,
man.
we were just talking about a while back, right? If like from outside of the game meant outside of the game anywhere, like going to open my binder and grabbing something. Silver Border cards allow you to do that kind of stuff. And I think that's why it's hilarious. And it's like fun because Commander is a board game. That's all it is.
So,
And it's not too strong, is my point. Like, I don't think you would necessarily lose against Silver Border cards more than against the Dark Side or Smothering Tithe. It's just they don't really feel, I gotta say that, they don't really feel like Magic cards sometimes. If they force your opponent to bring you a drink or something.
I think that's a
Doesn't win the
sweeping
game.
exception, though. Like, I'm sure there's some Silver Border cards that would just break the game, no?
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff that
They
still feels
break
like
the
Magic
game, but not in a
cards.
winning way. Oh, there's fully functioning cards, but we could get to them later, I guess.
Yeah.
But some of them are just super out there, but in a fun way, not in a game-winning way.
I mean, you cheat in Glee Max, but we'll get to certain cards shortly.
How do your friends react, Crib? I'm curious. Like, are they generally having a good time when you go and like Decorated Knight into the Amanatu deck to troll them? Like,
Oh, I mean, it's hilarious because, I mean, you remember, like, it's like they're also playing, what's the Urza that has like 500 lines of text in the deck?
so everyone, everyone is.
Like we made it so that like
People
everyone
sign up
gets
for Silver
one
Border.
silver bordered card. Right?
Okay.
a silver bullet, if you would. And then
A literal silver bullet.
So that's why it's like hilarious. It's not just like I show up and I'm the only one with a silver bordered card. So
I gotcha.
It's a lot of fun. It's pretty absurd, and it's, I don't know, it's a good time.
That sounds sweet. So your playgroup basically just has like a house rule that everyone gets a Silver Border card if they want one. Like that sounds sweet.
Just
that
one.
sounds sweet.
Or sometimes we don't care at all, and it's just like go ham, go wild.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun, actually.
Yeah.
Like outside of the going to get a drink card, which I have had played on me at a friend, which I did. I just went and just like pretty much like took. I just got water from the faucet and gave it to them. Right,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like
You
here you go.
spat in a cup.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
there's
you
no rules. Like, you know,
Yeah, it is a drink. You can't drink it.
here's your drink.
Is it a fluid though? It has to be a
Oh,
fluid, I
no.
think.
Oh, but
We're
it is.
banning that word on the podcast. All right, so we talked about Silver Border a lot, but so the main issue with Silver Border, at least according to Wizards of the Coast, or at least according to Mark Rosewater, is that people were just not playing these cards. Like you in casual games, the idea would be, yes, like you just show up with these cards, and then people would be mostly okay with it, and then you just play with it, but that still requires you to ask for permission and everything, and people were not viewing Silver Border cards as real cards. Like the big frame was an obstacle to people. So for this upcoming set, Unfinity, they're phasing out Silver Border cards. Now all the cards are going to be black border, but they're going to denote the cards that are not legal in Eternal formats with changing the sticker, the rarity sticker, from that normal sticker to an acorn shape. It's a subtle difference, but that will make all the difference. And the other cards that don't have the acorn on it will be actually Eternal legal. So you can play them in Legacy, you can play them in Vintage, and you can play them in Commander. So the idea, the intent is that because Silver Border, the frame was a barrier for people to actually try out these cards, the Acorn will allow them to differentiate still, but also help people like overcome like the fact that these are actually still cards, and you might be able to play them in casual queues. And it also allowed them to print cards that will be also legal in the same set. So there's a bunch of cards that are going to be Eternal legal alongside these Acorn cards that are not going to be Eternal legal that you have to ask permission for. So what do we think about this as a solution to the Silver Border problem?
This is terrible. Like this is terrible. Like I love Silver. Like just leave it silver bordered, and the cards that are playable could have just been in black border. Simple as that. I get that. I understand that. Now I have to Now I have to look for an Acorn. Hold on. What? Like
that's the problem, right? Oh yeah, I don't want to.
Well, but I mean, like, is that not true though? Like, it would have been easier if they would have just left the cards that aren't playable in silver border, and then anything that was playable, leave it in black border. Easy. But now there's an Acorn.
To the Acorn. Yeah, so Thomas said it's a pretty subtle difference. It's not the rare symbol or something. It's the little, when you see a rare, in the center lower part of the card, there's a foil. It's not really a sticker, right? There's other stickers in the set. There's like a stamp and like some foily texture. And this one is slightly different shape because now it's an Acorn.
Acorn shape.
Yeah, this one right there.
The little silver.
Yeah,
but it's also so small that it's hard to like. Yeah,
it's already small, and now it's an even smaller Acorn.
Yeah.
Like
instead of being an oval, it's a slightly irregular circle.
Yeah. I absolutely hate this. Like, I feel like. All right, so two things. One is, I feel like Wizards is trying to trick people into playing illegal cards. I feel like Wizards doesn't have the whatever to actually just be like, hey, these cards are legal. So instead, they're hoping they can make them look super legal and that people won't know they're illegal, so people will accidentally be able to play with that, which I feel is just like, is that something we want to train people to do? Like, do we want to teach Magic players that, hey, the right thing to do is try to sneak illegal cards into your deck? Like, that doesn't seem like an actual good policy for the company to have. So that's one of my issues with it. The other issue is I don't think it matters, because I don't think the bias against Silver Border is that they have Silver Border. The bias against playing them is you got to go through that whole conversation because Wizards and the RC both says you can't play them. Like, that's the problem. The problem is that you say they're illegal to play with, and you have to jump over these hurdles to be able to play with the cards of asking permission or setting house rules. And I don't think the Acorn changes that. They're exactly the same. They're even errating a bunch of Silver Border stuff to refer to Acorns now. It's like literally exactly the same thing by the rules. So I don't think it, other than maybe tricking people who don't see the Acorn and accidentally, just don't care because they don't realize it's illegal, I don't see how it actually solves anything. I'm not as pessimistic to think that they're trying to trick people. I remember what I heard. I don't have the source for this, so let me know in the comment section or if any of you guys know. But I believe there was a printing challenge, where they said they couldn't print both Silver Border and Black Border cards in the same print sheets. So they can only do like Silver Border and then like Black Border lands, for example, because the lands are printed separately. And so that was the main issue, is they wanted to make an unset that people will buy. And the only way they would get people to buy the unsets is if they had cards that were legal in like constructed formats, specifically Commander. So they needed to print Commander cards in the unset for people to actually just buy the frickin' thing. Which I can totally understand. I can totally sympathize with like Mark Rosewater and stuff. He has like a really cool idea, but he needs people to buy the product or else he can't do the cool idea. So you got to get Commander cards in there. And if you can't print Silver Border cards that are legal in Commander, then you have to print Black Border cards in there that are legal in Commander. And then if you can't print both Silver Border and Black Border, you have to have a different way to differentiate which ones are going to be Commander legal and which ones are not going to be Commander legal. And the best they could come up with was Acorn, and I don't like it. I don't think it was like malicious, like they want to trick people. It's like they want to sell Commander cards to Commander players so this product can get greenlit.
and that was the only way they could get this product, to people's hands. And the only way they could do that is they had to have a black border, and then they had to come up with some cheap, realistic way to print it, and they came up with the acorn. And the acorn, I think, is not satisfactory, and it will trick people. It will make people think cards are legal when they're not, because it is a terrible solution to it. But like I understand, I sympathize and understand with what the challenge was for them to get this product out, because I'm sure it's a fun product. But like, yeah,
I mean the other way to look at it would be like, if your silver border set, if no one wants to buy it because they don't want silver border cards, maybe you should just not try to make silver border. Like, maybe the market is speaking to you, and if everyone's saying we do not want to spend our money on this, maybe rather than trying to make it like half legal, half illegal acorns, maybe that's just a sign, as cool as silver border is, like, maybe it's just not a thing people want to spend money on. Maybe it's better to like make cards and post them on April Fools on Twitter or something, so people can get the jokes, which is one of the best parts of like silver border. Like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to be a full product. I feel bad for Mark, because I know Mark is just like so passionate about it, and this is something he really loves. But if they really won't sell without jumping through these huge hoops of acorns and mixing borders and legalities, like, maybe that's just a sign that silver border is not where the community's at right now as far as buying products.
Do we have any information how expensive? Oh, it is. It's certainly fun.
They're fun to like
information. Yeah, how expensive are the packs? Like, do we play like the same money for cards?
They've always been normal, yeah. They've always been normal booster price, like $4 a pack or whatever,
That's
sure.
probably why
would
they
you buy
had
this?
to add the watery graves and the shocks and all that stuff, right? The super infinity lands. And then, that's why, like Tomer had mentioned, they wanted to sell the Commander product too, right? So they wanted to make it appeal to Commander players and everyone else that plays older formats. So
I wish they just did stuff where like in Dominaria United, they're seeding packs of Legends cards and stuff. What would stop them from seeding packs of Unfinity with Commander products? So you're not printing them in the same thing, but you have a backlog of, I don't know, Zendikar expeditions or something. I don't know, and you start slotting those in. Like, make them appealing to Commander players, but like still keep it silver border. I feel like I'm sure they brainstorm these things, right? Like, this is their job, and they have teams of people working on it. So,
but they came up with the acorn, Tomer. They all brainstormed and came up with the acorn.
I know. I just feel bad, like, because I know they're smart people and they're better than me at this, but it's like, I just don't like the end product. I don't like the end product.
I wish they had even went with like a watermark. Like on some of the guild cards, how there's a watermark under the text box. For me, the problem with the acorn is it's just not obvious enough. Like, I know when I saw the first spoiler, which was Far Out, which is it's such a cool card. It's a card that I wish was actually legal so I could play with it. It's the one that when you cast a modal spell, you get to choose all the modes on it. It's such a cool design. But I was reading that card and I was getting hyped about it, and I didn't realize for like 5 minutes until I saw the little holo stamp that, this is like, I can't actually play this in Legacy or in Modern. If I want to play this in Commander, I gotta like ask permission, and then like my hype just got crushed. So I think, in my experience, it's just not obvious enough. And I know from tweeting about some of these cards, I had some people tell me that were like, I pre-ordered this card for my Commander deck. I thought it was legal. Like, I didn't know, and I'm like, sorry.
And most Commander players aren't online, right? Like they're not checking out Twitter and Reddit. Like that's a tiny minority of people. So I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people who are like seeing these spoilers and they see their black border and they'll be like super hyped to get these cards, and they're going to spend money expecting these cards to work in Commander, and like maybe a couple games they'll get to play with it until somebody's going to be like, hey, actually those cards aren't legal in Commander. Did you not know that? Look at the little acorn.
Look at the acorn.
It's probably
look
the
at
first
the
time they see
regular
the acorn.
foil stamp or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know.
I don't know. I still think the fix is they should have just made the fake card silver bordered. I know that the printing thing was a thing about it, but like, record profit year every year, so just spend a little
find
more.
a way.
Find a little more. It's just, again, record profit year. Just make it easier. Like, come on, the silver border thing, and split it between silver and black border, and this set would be great, right? Like, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is like the non-acorn cards, they are really far out there. Like the ones we've seen so far, they're putting stickers on things. You got sticker kicker, you got the spell reanimator. So I wonder if they could have like dice rolling. I wonder if they could have just made the whole set legal. Like maybe you don't need to have any silver border cards. Maybe we're in a point now where black border cards can be wonky enough that you can still get your Swiss Family Goblinson jokes in there and have dice rolling and all this wild stuff in there and just have the entire set actually be black border. That also would solve the problem if it was just a black border set rather than a Infinity set.
Yeah, actually, the card you mentioned, like far something, like this has a way more
out, yeah,
that's a way more realistic text box than put a sticker on your days in Legacy or something. It seems like they acorned the wrong cards there. I didn't even think about this, but yeah, they can make stickers.
An acorn card? I'm still not sure.
It should be. Like this is way more of an acorn card than just.
So I didn't look at all the Infinity cards, but there's some that are like. There's some that they reveal that are acorn that, I don't know, they might be an issue. Actually, maybe it's not even.
I mean, the tickets are a little, I guess.
Well, some of them are illegal, but like there's one animate object. This card has an acorn on it. This says you got 7 tickets. Choose an inanimate object you own from outside the game. Put a power and toughness sticker on it. You may also put a name sticker, an art sticker, and or an ability sticker on it. Put it onto the battlefield as a creature. So this would enable, basically, you choose any inanimate object outside the game. You can, like, I don't know, you could take your backpack and put it on the table and slap a sticker on it, and it is now a creature as part of the battlefield. So, like, people can, this is ripe for abuse. Like, obviously, you could just like slap it on a token card, or like, I don't know, like your deck box or something. You slap it on your deck box and put it on, and that's fine. Or like you have a spare dice or something, you slap that on, and now that's a creature, and like that would be fine. But like people would just be like, the memes. I will take the biggest, most cumbersome thing, and slap it on the table because they can.
I would definitely use bear.
Actually, wait.
Here's my puppy with a sticker. Boom.
Why is that a problem? That sounds really funny.
Yeah, but if it was legal, like it could cause issues.
How?
The card Goblin game references objects, right? And they explicitly, like, if you read the comprehensive rules text for it, it says reasonable size. So you could just
choose a
judge
number
it and
instead.
say, yeah, you can just say choose. I don't know. Like, I don't think the card is too hard to make legal. Like, once stickers are legal, you can just say this card represent the chosen object by something that's just as big as a magic card or something. So you need to get a card back or something, or like a sleeve.
I don't know.
Like, it's not too hard to make this card not ridiculous. It's obviously
there's no proxies here. I want you to.
I know if I play the card, I'm gonna take my shoe or something, sure, but I don't think it's a problem to fix the card if that's the only thing that makes the card.
Here's another example: Assembled Ensemble. This is another acorn card from Infinity. It's a 5 mana star 6 asterisk 6 clown robot bard with vigilance. Its power is equal to the number of robots you control. And then whenever he casts an artifact creature in its art, or no, whenever he casts a spell with an artifact creature in its art, create a 1/1 clown robot artifact creature token. So this would require you to like carefully examine artwork. And then argue that it is indeed an artifact creature. And obviously, that's going to be easy for a lot of cards. But there's going to be some, I don't know, like a random land card that has like minuscule humanoid creatures in it that you will have to be like, look, you're over there, this is a robot. And the other person will be like, how do you know it's a robot? How do you not know it's just like a humanoid? It's in a robe. And it's like, no, this one is a robot, just believe me. And then you fight about it, and then like, what are you gonna create a creature token or not? Like,
that's why you have a judge.
There,
yeah, but like, are these things you actually legitimately want to be legal throughout? Like, they will slow down the game to crawl.
It's Magic. It's still supposed to be a fun game, right? Like.
But what if you have bad eyesight? Like, I don't know. Like,
I have bad eyesight.
I think the question though is that actually going to be fun for everyone? Like, maybe it's fun for us or you or some of us, Krim, but is it going to be fun for most Magic players to have to like debate the artwork of every card, whether there's like a robot in there or not? Like, are most people going to enjoy that?
Magic players need to spice up their life. All right, we got to throw some of these these robots. I hate clowns, by the way, but at the same time, I think that it'd be a fun thing to have. This would be great. Oh, this would be such a good time. Oh my god.
I feel like it would. Again, it comes back to the same thing. At a game night with friends, it would probably be very entertaining. At a Magic Fest, 10 rounds in a row, I would probably quit Magic.
If this were a modern GP and this was in Modern, I would play Modern. I would play a lot more Modern. I'll tell you that. Judge, I need you to get a ruling here. Is this a robot? If they say no, then that sucks. All right, too bad.
And that's how Krim got murdered by the judges.
I legitimately want to play with these with like a group that I like and I'm comfortable with. Like you guys, like if we play in person, like Vegas, for example, I totally expect we're gonna jam some Infinity.
It'd be
right?
super fun. Oh, it'd be super fun.
I'd love to.
But I don't know, rolling up to an LGS and having to deal with this constantly would be less fun for me.
Really?
Heuristic studies. Actually,
legit. If every game was a heuristic study game, I would quit Commander. I'm not even memeing, but like, so there are cards that I don't like that are black bordered too. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying the density of that would be.
This feels like an icebreaker. This would be a better icebreaker in a Magic game. Are you kidding me? If a rando came up to me and was like, hey, is this a robot? That's hilarious. I would love that.
But I don't want to examine all your artwork. I just want you to say, I cast this and go. I don't have to be like...
What about proxies? Can you just proxy an entire deck that is all robot art? How do we handle that?
Like, what about secret layers? Like certain secret layers based on artwork is going to be
better.
Can
you just draw robots on all your cards and get the 1/1s? There's so many questions.
Sure, if you want.
I mean, some cards just don't.
But you have to draw on it. I want to see the ink on the card. Right? So it's like, if you want to commit to it, you Sharpie it on there and you commit to the bit.
Like, and it better be like. It has to be like. You have to show it to a random person, and they will have to confirm whether or not it's a robot, like without leading questions either.
Yeah,
like what type of thing do you think this is? Yeah,
that's great. That's hilarious. Are you kidding?
Yeah, but that's obviously not. These cards don't work. Like as hilarious as they are, sure, it's like Flavor Judge, where you have to ask somebody if the situation on the table makes sense from a flavor perspective, and if they don't, it doesn't work or something. Obviously, these cards can't really be legal in a controlled, like sanctioned environment, but yeah, otherwise, most of the cards are fine, I think. But yeah, asking the opponent if that's a robot, it's funny though, but
yeah,
gotta draw the line somewhere.
Also, Mark Rosewater had his own, did a presentation on Infinity and was it San Diego Comic-Con?
Mm-hmm.
SDCC? I don't know what it stands for,
SDCC.
but I think it's... Yeah. San Diego Comic-Con that happened recently, and they were talking about Infinity, and he actually talked about their criteria for the divide between cards that would be eternal legal and cards that would have the acorn denoting that they're not eternal legal. And so he said there are 5 things to watch out for. 6 things. I just counted now. 6 things. So first, attribute number 1 is they don't work within the current rules. The second thing is references something normal Magic cannot. So referencing names, art, or flavor text. And then the third is requires interaction with outsiders. So again, like having to call a judge, or having to talk to the game store manager, or just like a person outside the game. Involves physical dexterity, so these are like the Chaos Orb type cards where you have to drop something on the table, or just any sort of thing. I guess outside of coin flipping and rolling dice, those are okay. References something external to the game, so this is like taking an inanimate object and putting a sticker on it and putting it onto the table. And then the last one is a catch-all, I guess. Just doesn't feel right in normal play, which I don't know what those examples would be, but I don't know. That's it.
That last one seems up for debate. You could argue either way with a lot of cards on that one, probably depending on your subjective preferences.
I guess it's just like a safety valve, all the other ones are the most important concrete ones, and there's going to be a couple that are corner cases that are just like, I don't know why, but this is definitely not good. But what do you guys think about that? Like, is that something you would agree with, or do you think like they're too harsh in terms of acorning things?
I think in general, that's a pretty solid list. Like, works within the rules. That's probably just necessary. Although that's going back to like Far Out. I think Mark Rosewater actually commented on that one. And the problem with that is like infringed situations with very specific cards. It doesn't actually work with the rules. I couldn't make it non-acorn, even though it's a card that I think like if you just sat down and played with, most people would probably play pretty intuitively, even if it doesn't. I guess like Outlaw's Merriment's the problem that makes multiple tokens, and technically would make one token and it would be like a 3-1 and also a 2-1 and also a 0, like some weird coincidence there. So I think that's probably necessary. The one that actually stood out to me on the list was referencing stuff that normal Magic can't, because I know when we were discussing before the cast stuff that we would or would not like to see legal silver border wise, one of the things that came up was artist stuff, and that's something you can't reference on normal cards. I know some of us had like artist tribal cards do stuff based on the amount of cards by a certain artist on our like yes we would like those list, and then others of us had it on our no we wouldn't list. Apparently for Wizards that's a deal breaker. What do you think about that one in specific, like the artist tribal stuff? Because it sounds like based on this, it has to be acorned, right? Based on Wizards criteria or Mark's criteria?
I think that is totally... That's weird, right? Because you have cards that like actually blow up all homelands things.
That's a set, though. So that's different than
also,
art.
That also happened like 2 decades ago, right? Like
Sure.
But
true. Like when you think about it, like it's a whole set, but this references a whole like a batch of artists. I don't know. It doesn't feel that much different. It feels like it's just like maybe a few hairs away from being the same thing.
But the thing I don't like about that is it becomes like suddenly like certain versions of cards are inherently less valuable because they're less powerful, right? Because you need to like, I don't know, you're doing Rebecca Gay, and suddenly your Rebecca Gay version of whatever land is now 10 times more expensive than the non-Rebecca Gay ones because of these cards that actually associate power to them. Like I'm okay with collectors, but like when cards mechanically are more powerful,
the card is terrible because everyone knows that it's like so you play this card, no one has the artist, right? And it's like, okay, so then I just played this card for no reason. I don't think like it's a good card. I don't think it's I just think that it'd be fine if it were legal.
I don't like associating power to
specific
artwork.
versions of cards.
Yeah, to specific
basically.
versions of cards. Yeah, like a rampant growth is always going to be a rampant growth, and it doesn't matter if you have like the collector's edition or like the Richard Garfield test version of it that's like worth thousands of dollars as opposed to like the one that's 10 cents.
I think I feel the same way about a card called Super Secret Tech. I don't know. It has the same problem for me. It's a 3-mana artifact, and it says all premium spells cost 1 less to cast, and all premium creatures get +1/+1. So essentially, if you're playing foils, it's going to benefit you. But if you're playing, the cheap version of the card, you're going to be at a disadvantage because you're not playing foils. So I think it kind of has the same issue, just like in the real world with the financial aspect.
Regular Magic.
Yeah.
Oh, the peasants don't have their volcanic islands. No legacy for you.
I think the physical dexterity makes a lot of sense. Like, we want Magic to be as welcoming as possible, and not everyone has the same physical abilities, and it would feel bad to me if someone wasn't able to participate because of something like that. So that one, I think, definitely should be part of it. I don't know where the line is drawn. Like, obviously, running around the room, going and doing stuff like that, like, I think is clearly across the line. One card that came up that a lot of people love, I'm surprised, but Cheaty Face is the silver border card that the most people, when I've been talking about this, said that they'd want to be legal. And Cheaty Face is just a 3-mana 2/2, but you can sneak it onto the battlefield, and if no one catches you immediately, it gets to stay. So I don't know if that's a dexterity card or not. I could see, like, that's where kind of the gray area is. Like, you'd probably have an advantage the better you were at sneaking and, like, moving.
Imagine,
that card is
imagine
hilarious.
playing a sleight of hand, and while you resolve it, you slide in the Cheaty Face for extra flavor. Yeah, this card is sweet, although that seems even more like dexterity, like as flipping a card. Like, this is actually something you can be very good or bad at, depending on how good your card trick skills are.
You have to be more inventive, too. You could be like, hey, what's that behind you? And then you slip in the shitty.
Hey, look over there.
I legitimately...
Look over there, it's Mark Rose. It's Mark Rosewater. Behind you is Mark Rosewater.
You make them get a drink, and while they are gone, you cheat in your place and all Cheaty Face.
That's called a combo.
Yeah, that's combo. to show you how obviously spiky I am, I brought Cheaty Face to a GP, and I had it in my... I had it ready, but...
Did you ever use it?
Yeah, I did. But I joking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put some tokens out on the board, and I just rolled a Cheaty Face underneath it.
Yeah, these cards are funny. I like them.
I don't know. I think it's hilarious.
I just really want to play Infinity Reveal now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vegas. I think maybe we'll get a chance to actually play it, which would be fun.
Were you saying so?
What do you think about reference as something external to the game? Like, would that be the animate object card? Is that how we're thinking of that criteria? Like,
or
putting a shoe on the table, or getting a booster pack, going to get someone a drink. I think this is a pretty reasonable list as far as cards that you could. Because again, we're not talking about what you should and shouldn't do with your playgroup. Like, in your playgroup, everything goes. Mark is like a million% right. In your playgroup, you should be able to set whatever rules you want and do whatever you want. But as far as making the cards legal for everyone all the time, I think I'm mostly okay with this list. The one that I could see being most questionable would be the names, art, flavor text one. But I think Tomer's argument's pretty good there. So I think this is a reasonable way to look at it.
I think the only thing here is, like, yeah, obviously... I think it can reference something outside of the game. I think that's just more fun. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Imagine that. I think it's.
I agree that it's fun, but I don't want it to be like.
Why not
legal?
Like, some of the cards I love in silver bordered, that I think should be legal are they reference things outside of the game all the time. To be honest with you, the only thing in this list that I think should automatically be a thing is, like, yeah, make sure it does not involve any kind of, like, dexterity or physical things, right? Like running around the room. Sure, I do not think it should have that. But I do think if it references outside the game, it's fine. They should be legal. That'd be good. That'd be good. It's no different than, like, a wish. It's like a super wish.
Wishes aren't legal in Commander.
Wish for a shoe.
Yeah, I can wish for a shoe. I mean, come on. Magic players, you need to spice up your life a little bit. That's all.
I mean, I agree with that. I want to play these cards, but I don't know about making them the facto.
I think for me a big problem is the eternal playability. Like, I draw a line between Commander legal and Legacy legal, because Legacy and Vintage are, like, kind of holy formats, as weird as it sounds. Like, I don't want to ruin them by accident by saying, oh, I want to play with objects or art or something. Like, I would probably distinguish between, hey, these cards, you don't play them in Legacy, so we don't have... Can we, like, create pink teddy bears or something with the non-acorn cards? Like, that's a color that doesn't exist. I don't know if that's necessary in Legacy. I don't know if it's good. But if somebody breaks it, we kind of got a little bit of a problem. Not even talking about how expensive some of these cards might get, because these sets... we'll see. Maybe it gets bought a lot because of the shock lands, but otherwise, if there's one broken card in there, we might have a little problem in Legacy. Who knows?
I mean, like legacy players are upset
care
about
about legacy.
Legacy
I mean,
players. Lol.
legacy
duels?
players are upset about the stickers, and stickers are like
for sure, it's weird.
pretty mild compared to putting a shoe on the table or like some of the even more far out things. So I would imagine a lot of legacy players would agree with.
I don't know. Like
your take.
these
Do
shoes.
you know what the sticker mechanic is? Explain for the people at home.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
like
my
a
God.
brand new thing.
Oh yeah, we should probably.
Okay, so there is a new mechanic in the set that is stickers in tickets, and I'm trying to see if I can actually find an example. Oh no,
Carnival Carnivore. How about that one?
I want to find a sticker
Because that's
card.
legacy
though.
legal. Yeah, it has a sticker on it.
No, but you need the actual sticker cards
No, you
too.
need
Okay,
the
so
stickers
there's
against
I got it.
right.
So okay, here we go. I found the spoiler page. So okay, there's a card called Carnival Carnivore, 6 mana 4/6 with Death Touch. It's an alien crab horror. When it enters a battlefield, you get a ticket, and then you may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. So you're probably wondering, what's a ticket? What's a sticker? Well, there are 48 sticker cards that are kind of like tokens that are in this set. They're not real cards that are going to be in your deck. They're going to be in your sideboard essentially, kind of like a dungeon or something. And these cards have a bunch of literal stickers on them. So when you play a card that lets you put a sticker on something, there are name stickers. Like for example, Urza's Dark Cannonball. Urza, Dark, and Cannonball are all words that you can take and add to the name of your character. So you could have like Jace Cannonball the Mind Sculptor, Dark Jace the Mind Sculptor. There are art stickers, hats and dolls and squirrels that you can stick on your Planeswalker if you want to or whatever. And then there are some ability and power and toughness stickers, but those cost tickets. Like for 3 tickets, you can get a sticker that gives a creature shadow. For 4 tickets, you can change a creature's toughness and power to 7/4. So that's basically the mechanic. It's very convoluted, and this is
That's an easy one.
non-acorn. This is legacy legal, commander legal. You don't got a rule zeroed in. Like, it's just an actual mechanic that exists.
Don't you have to like randomly select stickers before the game and stuff? So you can't always get the sticker you want. You have to randomize it somehow.
You gotta have a sticker sideboard. You get to have 10 sticker cards. Before the game, you get to pick 3 of the sticker cards at random. And then if one of your cards tells you to choose a sticker, you can choose any of the stickers from those 3 that you got at random out of the 10 out of the 48 that you put into your sticker sideboard.
So you had to bring 10 though, because you can't select like 3, like put 3 in your sticker sideboard and randomly
You have
select
to
all 3 of them.
the idea is you can't always have the same ones. There's some variance built into it. So yeah, you got to have 10 and then get 3 at random out of
10
them.
individual types. You can't have overlap and stuff.
Oh yeah. Wait, does it
that.
take up sideboard slots?
It's its own thing, like a dungeon
sticker
or
slot.
something.
Oh,
So
that
no,
would've
it's
fixed
its
it so
own
good.
sideboard, yeah.
God, what? But that would have
Magic
fixed
players,
everything.
spice up your life. This is great. This is great.
I don't like it for Legacy just because it's like the last bastion where you could play like, old
Yeah.
school Magic and like oh god,
I mean,
imagine if these cards were great. Like
I mean, so far they look bad, but they just
they
have
said
to
they
mess
would
up
be bad.
once.
Mark said like, don't worry, none of these are going to be playable in Legacy.
Yeah, sure. Remember when they
Man,
didn't
that
playtest
sucks.
Oko's ability correctly and said, "Oh, what? You could target your opponent's creatures with this? We didn't think about that one."
That makes me sad.
That's scary.
I want these.
What do you
to be
think about
good.
it? Oh, yeah,
In Legacy, you want them to be good in Legacy,
Krim wants
I
them
would-
to be like top
yeah.
tier, yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
but you don't play Legacy. Can you just...
I would though. Like that's the thing.
If you could have stickers.
If I could have legal stickers like a legacy tournament and I got to play a sticker deck, oh my lord, I would love
Yeah,
that.
it'll be Krim versus nobody because everybody else left.
Legacy, the new brawl.
What do you think about it for Commander, though? Like, is this something that excites you? Or are you like, yeah, I can't wait to build a sticker deck? Or are you just like indifferent, whatever, dislike it? I'm actually curious.
I
I
love
thought
it.
Commander
think
doesn't
it's
have
funny.
sideboards, right? Or
Well, this
But
isn't a
it's not a
sideboard though. It's like a
Yeah,
it's like
that's
a
what I mean.
dungeon or something.
Yeah, look
sorta.
at it like
Yeah,
a
it's-
dungeon.
I don't care. Like, I'm sure they're fine. Like, I'll play them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not excited that the cards that get stickers sucks, but I think it's
It's just yeah. It's
wish-
just a more convoluted way of adding like attribute counters, right? Like we have vigilance counters, we have lifelink
that's all it
counters.
is. Minus the naming part.
Yeah. It's just
The name
it's
part
just a
is the
more
different part,
convoluted
yeah.
way. Yeah, just a more convoluted way to get to the same thing. It's all variations of kicker in the end, right?
Yeah.
Kicker.
I'm curious how to work in practice. They say that it's a very like glue and you can easily stick them and unstick them, but I'm actually like a little skeptical because they're supposed to be multiple use. Like you just use your stickers and then stick them back on the sticker card and do that for the next 10 years or something. So I am curious just like how it's actually going to work technically, but in Commander, I don't care. In Legacy, I think it's a little silly. Like, I don't know. I also kind of like Phil think of Legacy as like this old school, like important format that matters to like real Magic, and like stick a pink hat on my Jace, or like add, you know, dead squirrel to the name of my whatever, Mother of Runes. It's just like, it's just silly, I guess, which I don't know. Legacy doesn't feel silly to me. Legacy feels serious. Commander feels silly. So I don't know.
That is what I would say as well, but I would keep Legacy in mind if we don't distinguish between these formats. Like, I wouldn't just say, make them all legal, and then everybody on Twitter complains that I made the decision and killed Legacy. I don't want to be responsible for this. Also, like, nobody's gonna stop you from playing them if your whole playgroup allows it. So, better not to ruin Legacy just so you don't need Rule 0, because people might still say, hey, I don't play against these cards, and then yeah, this whole discussion is kind of weird because you can always just say, no, I don't want to play against them, or I do, and you can do the same with Heuristic Study.
Well, it depends if you're in a tournament or not. Like, if you're like...
Sure, yeah. Other Commander, I mean, I'm talking about casual Commander, obviously, with like Rule 0 and stuff. It's just so sad to see so much potential go to waste with these cards, because some of them are just super fun or seem super fun, or just like cards that work very well in certain archetypes. So yeah, can they reprint cards from unsets? And they kind of did with Future Sight, right? Like there was a Future Sight card.
We saw Bearing Glory. Like, the Cheese Stands Alone came first, and then Bearing Glory was like the official legal version. So we have seen some versions of that happen. I mean, it is sad because there are some cards that would be really fun. Like, it's awkward that they didn't put dice rolling into Black Border Magic until like a year ago. And then there's like a whole bunch of dice rolling cards from these old unsets that probably would be Black Border today, but they just weren't doing Black Border dice rolling at the time. So unfortunately, they live in Silver Border Purgatory forever at this point. So I would like to see stuff like that somehow be more playable.
What's stopping them from just reprinting a bunch of Silver Border cards in Black Border? And then that makes it legal.
That's actually my ideal solution. Like, I think the best way to do this is Wizards themselves, not the RC, not the community, like Wizards goes through these cards, chooses the one that they think should be legal everywhere, and just bring unset masters in Black Border with no acorn and just make them real cards. Like that actually, Wizards takes up the mantle, they do it, and then everyone gets this cool set to play with. The ones that Wizards doesn't think are safe, we don't have to deal with, and then that seems like the win-win for everyone, I think.
Yeah, that seems
kind of what I
like
want.
That would be my favorite,
And I would buy that. I would buy Unset Masters if it was Black Border and they were legal cards. Oh boy, those cards are so cool! Like it would be a super fun set.
Yeah.
Make it Old Border too, while we are like wishing for stuff. Make them look good.
I mean, Old Border does sell, so I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But yeah, I don't want all infinite. I don't want all Silver Border cards to suddenly, and Acorn cards to suddenly be all legalized. Sorry, Krim.
So Tomer, before you say this, just think about this. All right, you have is it Johnny? Is it Johnny the spiky player sitting there? He's like, I'm sorry, I only play Magic the Gathering because my brain is massive. I'm also going to put the sticker on this squirrel, and then like on top of that, there is no variance in my game. But also, do you like squirrels? Because I need this. like I just want you to think about that in your image, all right? At a modern GP, right there.
Right.
LSV leans over.
Ben Stark. It's got to be, if it's an example for Tomer, it's got to be Ben Stark.
Ben Stark. John Finkel, as he's storming off, he asks you one question: do you like squirrels?
Do you like
What is that card? Why do you keep referencing
Yeah, we
it?
should
It's a
probably
great magic card.
show the
Like,
cards.
Is there a
reference
card that
MTG.
makes you ask, do you like squirrels?
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
I'm just asking people if they like squirrels for fun. I mean,
What's it called? I can't find it. I think you're just crazy.
It's from the last unset or something. Which one is that? Is it unsanctioned?
I don't believe you.
It's
I'm trying to-
It's a one.
Oh my god, okay, I found it. Squirrel
Yeah.
Dealer, 1 mana 1/1, raccoon lizard bird. When Squirrel Dealer enters the battlefield, ask a person outside the game, do you like squirrels? If he or she does, create a 1/1 squirrel creature token.
Okay.
Now just think of that. John Finkel, LSV, I don't know, Jerry Thompson just leans over and just asks you that.
That's peak magic.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Peak magic.
Now do you still not want all silver bordered cards to be legal?
I think you convinced me.
Absolutely not.
Worlds is happening right around when the set releases at Vegas this fall. Like, I think it should just be Infinity Draft rather than whatever they were planning.
God, yes.
No, it should be vintage, but all Infinity cards are now legal.
Oh, I mean, that way we can test if anything is broken, right?
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
get a few weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
I know
They
some
start like
cards that would.
Goblin Welder and getting Gleemax or something. And
Oh my god.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Magic, the community.
New meta.
You're welcome. Life has just been spiced up.
All right. So we talked about whether or not we want them to be legal and all the nuts and bolts, but we all agree that there are some cards we would want to be legal. There's certain degrees on how much we want the cards to be legal, but there's at least, examples of cards we would like to see legal in some way or fashion. I think the Black Border is. So we're gonna just give 4 examples, one each person, of cards that we think would be sweet in Black Border, not Black Border, in just legal in Commander. And I'm going to kick things off with a card. I kind of yoinked this from Phil's list. But dice rolling. We alluded to this earlier, but when they added dice rolling to Silver Border sets, dice rolling was not legal in standard sets or in Eternal sets yet, because we didn't go to Dungeons and Dragons land and accept D20s as the cool new thing. So one of the it showed up in like unstable and unsanctioned, but the card that I really want to add to my dice rolling deck is a Silver Border card called Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, which is so perfect for a freaking Dungeons and Dragons deck. I can't believe they didn't reprint it in either AFR or Baldur's Gate. Like, come on. So Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, it's a 3 mana artifact equipment, equip 2, just like the Sword of X and Y. This is Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, so it's a Sword of X and Y, but Silver Border. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from rogues and from clerics, which are both now creature types in Magic. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a 4/4 gold dragon creature token with flying and roll a d20. If you roll a 20, repeat this process. So the only part that doesn't work in Silver Border here is the gold part, because gold is not a color in Magic. So you would have to errata creating a 4/4 gold dragon creature token to be any other color, right? Or like 5 colors or something. I don't know.
I mean,
every color.
We just got Ancient Gold Dragon, and it's white. So
Yeah, you just
maybe
make it
it would
white.
just be white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could just be multicolored.
I mean, that's what we usually call gold. Although
Right.
that would make for different rules interactions, so just make it white. Just,
make it white.
I don't know.
Well, they
It's
were
kinda
they printed
monocolored.
Ancient Gold in white. So
Right.
There's a
Sure.
precedent for this.
I
would
mean, we
like
also
that
have
one.
a pink teddy bear in Legacy, so I don't think that matters too much.
And I want this in my Roll20 deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a sweet one. That seems like a card that should be able to function for sure.
I mean, it's easier to go for Croc's other thumb, because this is just whenever you roll a dice, you roll another one and choose the outcome, just like Croc's thumb does with coin flips. This card, it's just, that should be errata or something. Like this feels like an auto-include in dice rolling decks, and these could need some help, so Yeah, that's the card why I was asking if I can just reprint.
I mean, we have
that
change
literally
the name or
like
something.
5 different
Multiple
times too.
Yeah, we
but
have
it's
multiple
like-
versions of that, though. We have, like Barbarian class, Pixie Guide.
Sure,
So
but-
if those cards are fine, I don't know why this one wouldn't also be fine. Like with this, it literally exact same text box already exists in Black Border.
Yeah. So that would be pretty easy. I don't know, Seth. What do you got for us? What's a card that you think would be sweet in Black Border, or sorry, be Eternal Legal in Commander?
So there's this old card from Scourge called Form of the Dragon. It's a 7-mana enchantment, and it essentially turns you into a dragon. It says, beginning your upkeep, it deals 5 damage to any target. At the beginning of each end step, your life total becomes 5. Creatures without flying can't attack you. Well, in Unhinged, they made Form of the Squirrel, which is Form of the Dragon, except rather than turning into a big, powerful dragon, you turn into a squirrel. It's a 1-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you make a 1/1 green squirrel token. You lose the game if that squirrel token leaves the battlefield. Creatures can't attack you. You have Shroud. You can't cast spells.
It doesn't even have evasion.
No, it's just a 1/1 squirrel token. So I think this card is just really neat. It doesn't do anything that I can see that is actually breaking the rules of Magic. There's no dexterity. It doesn't reference art. So according to Mark Rosewater's criteria, I feel like it works. And I think if anything, the card is probably bad. Like, you got to somehow protect this 1/1 for an entire game or else you lose. And you can't cast spells, which is a really, really big drawback to casting this 1-mana enchantment. So
You can't drop this turn 1 and expect to win. That's definitely not happening.
No. This is a late game effect. So but
is
it's
a
just a really
closer.
weird design, and it.
Control.
So I think, yeah. But I would like to see that one.
Oh wait, can you donate the squirrel token?
Ooh,
Or
you could.
is it intrinsic?
No,
to...
you can't cast spells.
You
Wait, let me
lose
see.
the game.
Yeah, but
when
like
they
Zedru. Oh, you lose the game.
No.
Yeah, so I think you would still lose. And also, I guess just like shout out to squirrels in general. Like Earl of Squirrel, I also think would be fine. Squirrels are kind of like dice rolling in that Wizards didn't do them in Black Border for a long time, so they printed some really cool ones in unsets during the era when they didn't think they should do them in Black Border. And then they've started doing them in Black Border again. And now there's these like pretty cool squirrel cards that just can't be played anywhere because they're unset cards.
Yeah. Like there were some good Black Border squirrel cards like Deranged Hermit. I guess Deranged Hermit was the only one that was very good back in the day, but
Like they printed them in the early years of Magic, and then they decided they were too like goofy to be Black Border and didn't do it for like 20 years, and then recently started doing it again.
oh man, how times change. Also, this is another thing that Mark Rosewater is like a huge advocate for. He's like the biggest.
He's the squirrel
stan.
guy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really sweet too. I think that would be a slam dunk as well. But Krim, what do you got for us as a black? As a card that would be Commander legal? You want to see Commander legal?
So I hate tutoring, to be honest with you, in Commander, right? But because I like the singleton aspect of Commander, right? And I think it's a lot of fun. It gives you a lot of the variance. Speaking of that same variance, though, I want to add Booster Tutor. That's right. Everybody here gave like the most like safe answer ever. Oh, come on.
I picked Form
I
of
was going
Squirrel.
to say that myself.
Okay,
It's just too sweet.
Squirrel form is pretty funny. I'll admit
Okay.
that one. But like Booster Tutor, for those that don't know, it's a 1-mana instant. Open a sealed Magic booster pack, reveal the cards, and put one of them into your hand. Essentially, you just conjured up a card, right? And I think this is hilarious. So why would you not want to do this? You could pick any pack, and it gets, obviously, you could be like, well, what if I just open like a collector's pack of like Double Masters, which is like, loaded with good cards. Well, sure, that just becomes very expensive every time you do it, right? But it also gives me that variance that I'm looking for, and sometimes you just might open some really bad cards and has no applications, and you just take the basic land, right? Like that may not even be on colors. So this just seems like a lot of fun, right? Like I love this. I know that we don't like things from outside of the game, but like, again, this is just like a super wish. That's all it is, but much worse. Like, it is an actually bad card, but I think it would be hilariously fun. especially when Commander already feels like a board game, as I've mentioned.
Yeah, so the thing about this card, because I was mentioning it before the cast, and Seth said, which is true, like, if you have a hive mind, or there's a hive mind on the table and you cast this, you have to bring the boosters for everybody else. That's the only rule. Like, you can't force them to get boosters.
Yeah, you can't force people to buy packs.
Wizards
As much as
love
Wizards of the
that.
Coast would want. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast would be like, how do we get this?
Yeah, Wizards just got a good idea. Way to just, like, reveal that. Okay, now.
Yeah. Target opponent has to buy a booster pack.
That's so good. I mean, as if you weren't already anyways. Everyone calm down. You were already going to buy packs. It's just now you got to give it away.
I buy singles. I followed the professor's advice there.
That's fair. That's fair. I would actually buy packs if this card was legal, because normally I just buy singles.
Yeah.
But now I have this tutor. I'm like, oh, heck yeah.
I would actually play this in any black deck and have just get a box until you
I put it in my Toshiro deck.
Yeah, you
I
would.
would- I would play it
it's an
too.
instant. Ooh,
There's
just
also
so much fun.
There's also Summon the Pack, which is like kind of a callback to this and one of the more recent unsets, which is 8 mana sorcery, open a sealed magic booster, reveal all the cards, and put all the creatures revealed onto the battlefield under your control, and they're zombies in addition to their other types. So I think if we do Booster Tutor, then Summon the Pack is probably also fair game.
Yeah, I would say 100%. And that would be amazing to see.
Commanders.
Oh, come on.
I don't know if I would.
It's just, think of it like a super collected company. That's all it is.
It is 8 mana. Like you're getting to Rise of the Dark Realms territory at that point. But
Yeah. All right.
I don't know
that's
if
fine.
Like, are you worried about it
No,
from
I
a
think it's
power
fine.
level like standpoint, or are you worried about
no. More the outside the game standpoint would be that would be the worry, but
See it.
it does seem really fun. It does seem super fun. I'll give it that. But I'm still kind of like on the fence as far as like, if I'd want to play with it all the time.
Yeah.
I would
would
want to
get
play
ex-
with it, but I don't know if I like. You're playing Commander, and then someone casts it, and they got to go to the store and wait in line and give them their $5 to get a booster pack. Like, I haven't got time for that.
Yeah, but if they're playing it, they should probably have the booster pack.
Oh, they have
ready.
the packs. Okay,
Right.
if everyone's responsible, then maybe that's fine. If you
Like-
just got like a pack in
Well,
your
because
pocket,
they get-
Why would they not be responsible? Because they would just pay 1 mana to not do anything. Because, like, essentially, if you don't have the booster pack, that's it. You don't get anything.
okay, okay.
Right? Like, why would you
Yeah.
get something for not having it, right? Like,
Fair.
Yeah, all right. I can see it. I can see it.
I wouldn't say if it became legal, I would not complain. How about that?
I'll go with Tomer. I'll go with
I'm
Tomer.
not going to advocate for this, but I'm not going to complain if it became legal. All right, that's as far as I'll go. All right, Phil, what do you got for us?
So I'm keeping it very playable here, and I choose this card because, first of all, it's very funny. The card is Crowstorm, 3 mana sorcery. Create a 1/2 bluebird creature token named Stormcrow, and the card has Storm. So that's just, if you know the card Stormcrow, that's the whole joke. It creates Stormcrows with Storm. So the thing about this card is it's good, but not better than other Storm payoffs, like Empty the Warrens. It creates double the tokens. You can also just tendrils the opponents if you storm off. The thing about this is why this could easily exist. Like, Shark Tornado seems like at the same level of cheesiness. It's like an obvious Shark Tornado reference.
Sharknado might have been more cheesier, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe even cheesier. Like,
You
at
clearly
least
don't understand the
Crowstorm
It's even more
references-
outdated of a meme. Like,
whoa. It's
Well,
not a
I mean,
That's
that's
like
like
from references a magic card. It's like
Yeah.
Lanova Visionary or something. Like there's Lanova Mystic or something like
Tribe,
that
that.
adds
Tribe.
three
There's like
green.
3 of them.
Oh, Lanova Tribe references. Like Lanova Tribe is as cheesy as Crowstorm. And it's such a playable, sweet, not broken card. It's just funny. I just think these cards this is a good example of a card that just works 100% with the rules of Magic.
Yeah, I don't
Would
see why
just
it
be-
wouldn't be a
Yeah.
commander
Like,
legal.
I wouldn't mind if somebody... I mean, actually, that's the example here. If they do this instead of Tendrils B to death, that's fine with me. It's
funny,
but they don't win the
most
game.
often it's just going to be a worse Empty the Warrens, right? Like,
Yeah.
unless you're a bird tribal, and even then.
If you can somehow build bird tribal / storm, you deserve to win with your crow storm.
Well, you draw a lot of cards first off your Toski, which is an honorary bird.
Right.
And then you cast
You
a bunch of
don't
one mana birds. And then you cast Crowstorm. Boom. Win.
There's very much some
Crowstorm.
endpoint to Crowstorm, though.
Crowstorm doesn't
Yeah.
even seem like a silver border card to me, honestly. Like, it's got the joke name, sort of, but as far as power level and, like, text, it seems like a real, like, a black
It
border
seems like
card.
a Modern Horizons card, actually. Like
It's more like, yeah.
And cheesiness-wise, like, the same as Llanowar Tribe.
I could see it in Modern Horizon or something reprinted. I want to see these reprinted in black border. Just, without an acorn.
I think that's the consensus here. Like, if they just reprint unmastered with like the cards that they deem playable, like these, that would just work. Maybe not Booster Tutor if we're totally fair, but I wouldn't mind it. That would be perfect. Just reprint the cool stuff.
And I think there's enough.
Play more
Like,
scrolls or something.
I think
Yeah,
there's
well,
enough. They
that's
could make
enough.
a whole Masters set out of it with mythics and rares and commons, the whole thing. Like, I think they could actually do it.
With Booster Tutor and Summon the Pack.
I mean, there's obviously some cards they shouldn't reprint. There's a card called Gleemax that literally is just make infinite mana.
So we'll just go to those.
I
Yeah,
don't
which
think that would
are
be good.
some silver border cards we wouldn't want to see legalized? Krim, I know you're abstaining from this.
Yeah.
He does have some on the
I
list.
have a few, but that's because I had to, right?
Okay. But Seth, what's Gleemax? We referenced this a few times.
It's not Gleemax. That's a
not?
different.
There's a card where it's just like
I
it
mean, this
literally
card
says
is-
add it sideways 8, right? That's what it's.
I mean,
Mox
I'll take Gleemax.
Wait,
I'll
you mean
explain
Mox
this one.
That's the
Lotus, I
million
think?
mana card.
It's a million
Yeah, I
mana
think you
legendary
mean-
artifact, and it says you choose all targets for all spells and abilities. So, at first glance, you would say, "Hey, this card's unplayable. It's a million mana. Who can make a million mana outside of green?" And realistically, though, all you have to do is you have to put it in discard it, and then tap Goblin Welder to sacrifice an artifact put directly onto the battlefield, Master Transmuter, all that stuff. And then for the rest of the game, your opponents basically can board wipe, but otherwise any targeted spell or ability is going to be under your control. So you have like a stranglehold, a soft lock on the table for the cost of having a single permanent onto the battlefield. And there's like a lot of cards that are like discard a card, you deal damage equal to its like mana value, or just like it's just a one shot a million different ways. So the card is busted. I mean, it's definitely playable though. Like it could exist in a black border set. Like I don't see any reason why, because it's not doing anything like outside of the game or anything. But I think it would just be too strong.
Power level, yeah. I found mine. It's also a power level one. It's Mox Lotus is the card I was thinking of. Mox Lotus, 15 mana, tap it to make infinity symbol of colorless mana to your mana pool. Pay 100, add a mana of any color to your mana pool. You don't lose life due to mana burn. So essentially, it's a 15 mana artifact that taps to make infinite mana of any color. I think the problem, when you see it, you say 15 mana, infinite mana is probably fine. And that's probably true. Like, if this really cost you 15 manas to get on the battlefield, maybe just tapping to make infinite mana would be fine. And whatever. Nyx Bloom Ancient makes a lot of mana, and that's 7 mana or 8 mana. The problem is, you wouldn't actually cast this for 15 mana. You'd tinker it into play, or you'd trash for treasure it into play, or welder it into play. And then just a single card that is literally infinite mana, I think would just be way too strong to actually exist in any form of competitive Magic.
Mm-hmm. Too strong. Just like Gleemax, I guess. But there has to be like some weird stuff, right? There's like some weird mechanics of just like... What's like the confetti ones or something? Chaos confetti?
You want a weird one? Okay. I got
something
a
that
good
you
one
just
for you
would
that
be
was on
too
my
weirded
list.
out.
Okay. It's called Cardboard Carapace. It's a 6 mana enchantment that says, for each other Cardboard Carapace card that you have with you, enchant a creature gets +1/+1. But it also says on it, errata, this does not count any cardboard cards in play or under your control or in your graveyard or your library. So essentially, if you have a 500 count box of this card that you carry around with you to your commander game, your creature would get plus 500 plus 500. Or if you have like a few in your pockets or like whatever, you run out to your car and get some. If they're actually in your deck or in play, then they don't do anything. Like it does literally nothing. So it rewards you for just somehow having multiple copies of this card on your person as you play a game.
I feel like somebody's done this because this card is $2 to buy. So somebody has like suitcases of cardboard carapace out there.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta go all the way. As far as tearing cards, Blacker Lotus, 0-mana artifact, tap it, tear it into pieces, add 4 mana of any color, remove those pieces from the game.
Oh no.
Yeah, that probably would not be good. That's also like $30. Probably because everyone has torn their copies back when it was $1, and now they just aren't around anymore.
Demand.
It's also Christopher Rush did the artwork for it too. So
the art is
original
actually,
Black Lotus version.
The art is sweet.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to tear up cards. I've had to in the past. I did not like it.
You've had for Vince.
No, for Flipper or Rip It, but I'm not. That's another story.
Whoa!
You willingly
Flip
tore
it
that
or rip
opposition
it.
agent that you gave me, so I don't know unless you slipped and
Oh, I
somehow
mean,
fell.
I
and
mean
that, card
that
just got
that
shredded.
I felt no regret. That I actually improved it for you, Krim. I hope you use it well.
I taped it back together.
Beautiful. All right, so, Krim, what do you have as a card that you wouldn't want legalized?
I have a card called Rare Be Gone. It's 2 and a black red. It's a sorcery that literally has a no symbol over its rarity. And it's each player sacrifices all rare permanents, then reveals his or her hand and discards all rare cards. And this has been errata to where it says all rare or mythic rare, by the way. So now any rare and mythic rare cards are sacked and in hand get discarded. Now, I want you to think about your mana base. Just look down at your mana base. In 2022, all of it's rare. At least.
I want this to be legal. This is the only one I want straight up
This
legalized.
is the ultimate budget player card. This
Play
is like
more
Former
basic.
All-Star.
Play more basic. I keep saying it. Oh, can you imagine?
But what about your hand,
Wait,
Tomer? What
the
about your
secret layer
hand?
base is
I'm a budget player. What do you think I'm playing?
That is just because your budget doesn't mean you don't play rares. And yeah, like there's
I
still,
play less rares than you do.
probably, but like you're still gonna have to discard from your hand, right? And you still have to
A
sacrifice.
small price. A small price to pay.
Like I can see you casting this, and you'll maybe have like 4 lands, sure, afterwards, which is still pretty good. Whereas everyone has nothing at that point. In 2022, everything is at least a rare. So
I'll have you know that out of all the lands in my deck from the $100 deck that I played on last Commander Clash, only one of them was a rare, Llanowar Waste. Everything else was common or uncommon.
broken.
Yep. I could totally... I wouldn't even be affected by this. I would have to discard my, like, Academy Manufactor, and that's it. Boom, got him.
Can you
Got him.
Okay, outside of Tomer, where this does seem a little catered towards Tomer.
I want this legal. Legalize now.
I have to imagine that everyone else at this table just gets wrecked, right? Like absolutely wrecked by this.
This is anti-pay to win. This is a beautiful card. It should be legal. You've won me over, Krim. Everything should be legal now. I want this card. I want this card.
Seriously though, this has the same problem as like the artist tribal cards and so forth. I think that it punishes people for like playing certain versions of cards because some cards have been rares and now they're uncommons or whatever. So I feel like, yeah, as funny as it is that it hates on the big money decks, like really it's probably not a good thing.
I don't think anyone's gonna be concerned if they're like, oh no, you know, like it didn't hit your downshifted rare card. Your Scion of Darkness from Double Masters is still on board. Oh no. I think the main thing here is your mana base will get sacked, and that's where everyone's gonna be upset. And then your mana base in hand will also be sacked.
Except for me.
Except for Tomer, he's good with his 25 basics.
Got him. I was born ready for this.
We would be punished for MDFCs, by the way. My Hagra Mauling would get discarded.
Ooh.
That's why Malik, your reverse
Yeah,
still
we can't
gets
have that.
better and better.
Yeah.
Uncommon, baby. It just keeps getting better. All right, Phil, round it out for us. What's a card that probably shouldn't be legalized?
Yeah, so I had a number of cards here, like Very Cryptic Command and Knight of the Kitchen Sink, which are different cards with the same art, just like Alchemy. But listening to these examples, this is just, I wouldn't like it, but I guess if Alchemy is a thing, that doesn't seem too bad. But I saw in Crim's list here a card that would literally kill me. It's called Mouth to Mouth. It's a 4-mana sorcery that says, you and target opponent have a breath holding contest. If you win, you gain control of target creature that player controls. If you know how much I like gaining control of creatures, I'm just gonna die for this. You wanna keep that whatever big creature, I'm willing to go down.
So
That's like a worse control magic.
Why are you blue?
Out of blue. This card, I didn't even know this existed, but this would actually be dangerous. Like, I'm pretty good at holding my breath, but man, if my opponent is better, I've got a real problem there.
People would be passing out at their commander tables. Yeah, that's probably not healthy.
Passing out.
There's so many of these cards. There's eye to eye.
Yeah, it's a staring contest, I assume.
Yep.
At least you don't die.
Yeah, but your eyes burn. That's for sure.
Yeah, I could see
So maybe
this.
not every card should be legal.
Yeah, these
I
might
didn't
be
even
the
know
ones.
this existed.
I guess this one you just opt out with. Like, you just don't do like, you'll just be like, nah, I'm good. You take it. You spend 4 mana and the sorcery. Like, all right, it's a control magic with extra steps. Like, fine.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Even if you just opted out, it's not really overpowered, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
Same with Eye to Eye. Essentially, it's 3 mana to destroy a creature. Like, even if you're just like, sure, kill my creature, like, you still shouldn't be playing Eye to Eye. You should probably just be playing Murder or something. Like, it's, yeah.
But you get a staring contest. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, wow, Silverboard world is definitely wild. Different than anything else in Magic, that's for sure.
That's why it's so fun. I love these.
I never played with it, and I'm super excited for Infinity in Vegas. Ooh,
In Vegas.
what a setup. My God.
And also, I guess as we wrap up this podcast, shout out to everybody who bought our playmat, limited edition.
Oh, yes.
It was until July 31st. And the reason why we get all to hang out in Vegas for the 30th anniversary is because everybody supported us. Over 1,000 playmats sold. So thank you so much for everybody who bought one of the playmats. It funded our trip. It allowed us all to meet in Vegas on October 30th. First time the entire Goldfish crew will be meeting together in person. First time ever. So really excited for that. And if you do show up on the 30th anniversary of Magic the Gathering celebration at Vegas, you can hang out with us. And if you bought a playmat, we'll happily sign it. And yeah, it'll be a fun time. So
Again,
maybe meet us
unless
there.
because remember, some of them are already signed by us.
Oh, yes.
We'll just sign them again.
Sign them again.
Oh, that's my
yeah.
concern. That took me like 4 hours to get.
Krim,
that
you
one.
can.
Same with
Oh, I
mine,
thought you did
actually.
like I thought you did like Photoshop or anything on it to like clean it up.
I cleaned up like some of the additional strokes on the outside, but it took me 4 hours and and a lot of concentration. I essentially had a staring contest with my I stared straight down.
It was worth it.
That's
It
pretty
looks
sick, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, are you gonna keep signing that way? Like, if
I
someone
mean,
comes
I
up to you with it,
you have to.
Yeah.
You've set
How
it.
long
You
does
set
it
the
take
bar.
you?
Some on Twitter.
do you sit there for like 15 minutes as you do it?
Yeah.
I get close. All right, I get close. All right, that's all that matters. All right, I get close ish.
You gotta practice it.
Yeah, it's
You got time. You got a couple months.
so hard.
Yeah, I
Soon it will just
feel
be
that I have to.
Yeah.
I never signed anything, and I fear that because I did it on the playmat, I now have to put a little chef's hat on my signature.
Oh, I'd
Yeah, I
expect
gotta
that. When
love
I
this
bring
one.
mine, you're signing it with that, and it better have a chef's hat on it. Well,
This is going to be my first Magic event ever. Just It's going to be pretty overwhelming in lots of different ways, but pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Well, come to Vegas and meet Phil and all of us in October.
Yeah.
It'll be super fun.
Yeah. All right. I mean, we covered all there was to say about this, I think. Is there anything anybody wanted to mention before we call it on Silver Border / anything? Acorns?
Yeah, I feel like we covered it.
Yay, Silver Border, boo, Acorns. Yay.
And I think actually the solution, if we want to take anything away here, is literally unmaster the set. That seems like the best compromise.
That'd be fun.
That would
Unmaster,
be
Black
fun.
Border, make them legal. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, that's it, everybody. We'll be back next week with a topic that we will decide. / also, if you have any suggestions on what topics you want to hear in the future, leave a comment down below or just reach out to us on Twitter at MTGGoldfish or at any of us, or send us an email. And we always like topics because we have to do this once every week. So a big bucket list of things is always good to have. Just saying. Anyway, all right, that's it, everybody. Hope you enjoy. Until next time, friends. See ya.